Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel, spending some time with me today. Always appreciate that. And guys, today I want to do a follow-up video on the one I did yesterday as far as that 165 acre piece of land next to my house here that they're getting ready to put 200 houses on. I wanted to do a follow-up video on because I think that about 20% of the people that watched that video couldn't really wrap their head around what I was talking about. I wanted to do a video geared to hunters out there, and a lot of people that bass fish also hunt, so I figured this was relevant to the channel, about the future of hunting, what this involves and what entails, this overdevelopment, this urban sprawl, suburban sprawl, and I want to get into that in today's video because mark my words about this, guys, and make no mistake about it. If you love to hunt, the future of your hunting and the future of your children and your grandchildren's ability to hunt is going to be severely threatened by this. So we're going to get into that in the video today. Also, guys, just real quick before we get started, I just want to extend a big thank you from me and my family, everybody out there that's been helping the channel out by using all the links I put in the description and subscribing to Intuitive Angling. You guys are the reason this channel is on YouTube. So if you're one of the people out there that like use my tackle warehouse link for your tackle purchases, you're being a huge help. So thank you very much for that. Okay, guys, just to recap, if you didn't see it, that video I did yesterday, I'll link it in the description too. It's a 165 acre prime piece of wildlife habitat about, less than a quarter mile from my house. They're getting ready, some developer bought it up and they're gonna get ready to put a huge subdivision in there, 200 houses, which made me sick. If you watch the video, you can see that. But what I wanna talk about today without getting into that, I wanna talk about the danger that developers pose to the future of hunting in this country. Guys, I used to be a fanatical hunter. Back when I was in my early 20s, I hunted everything. And I had a really bad experience hunting in 1984 while I was deer hunting. And that ever since I had that experience, I haven't had any interest in hunting whatsoever. I haven't hunted, since, 1984. I don't have a problem with people that like to hunt as long as you're respectful and you're an ethical hunter and you respect the sacrifice for taking an animal's life. I have no problem with it whatsoever. So I know a lot of people still love to hunt. Here's the problem that a lot of people have, or here's the problem we have, a lot of people don't realize, even hunters, is this unchecked development that we have going on in this country is the biggest threat to the future of hunting that you have out there. And I'll give you guys a prime example here. I live in Springfield, Missouri, and I've been here about 10 years, and I lived in the Southwest Missouri area my whole life, but I've been here in Springfield about 10 years. And since I have been here in the course of 10 years, there has literally been thousands of acres, of area right around Springfield and the perimeter of Springfield where you had little bitty wild places like 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres, 100 acres, 500 acres, whatever, that you had this excellent wildlife habitat that had a diversity of habitat for the animals. It had creeks, they had timber, they had pasture land, just haven for wildlife. And these developers come in here bit by bit, buy it up, and they put in Amazon warehouses, different type of commercial buildings, strip malls, vape shops, apartments. It just gets gobbled up right and left. It's never ending, it's ongoing. And the problem we have with this is going on in your hometown too. You guys know what I'm talking about. Every single person watching this video has witnessed the same thing. This unchecked development, buying up, developing prime pieces of wildlife habitat. And every time you do that, every time a little piece of wildlife habitat is gobbled up to development, wildlife is displaced and they have fewer and fewer places to live. So what people have to do, as far as if you're a hunter, you have to step back for a second and say, okay, we're losing wildlife habitat. Here in the United States, we literally every single day of the year, we lose thousands of acres of prime wildlife habitat to development in the United States. So it doesn't take Einstein to realize, it's like, hey, eventually we're not gonna have anything left. If we keep developing and buying up little parcels of 10, 20, 50, 100 acres land for, some developer to try to make a buck on, eventually where are our animals going to go? We share this planet with other creatures. It's not just about us on this planet. We have the Earth is a cycle. We have to maintain this balance on our planet, and it's not just about human beings. Everything has got to have a place. Everything has a reason to be here, as far as for that cycle and the balance of life. So here's what we have. Here's the situation. We have these developers that are on a mission to basically do everything they can to build, grow, build, expand urban sprawl, suburban sprawl, while our inner cities are crumbling. The infrastructure, everything inside of the town crumbles, and the developers, they want cheap land, so they go out and they buy these farmers' lands that have been in these people's families for 100 years, and the kids don't want to mess with it, so they want to sell it. And it's this vicious cycle that goes on. So if you're a hunter, this is what's going to happen. Okay, the private lands are the prime hunting areas. Everybody knows that hunts. Public lands suck to hunt on because most public lands, they don't offer enough of a diversity of habitat to support large populations of wildlife, and also they get hunted relentlessly. So we all know public hunting lands suck. And the private hunting lands are what sustains the majority of hunters in this country. So if you multiply this type of development over the next 50 or 100 years, guys, your kids, if you hunt and you want your kids to grow up learning to hunt, unless they have some type of a private property game fence with a 10-foot game fence around it, your kids aren't going to have any place to hunt. There's not going to be nothing left on public lands. Every single hunting opportunity in the United States is going to be by these wealthy dudes out there, like all these ranchers in Texas that have these 1,000-acre, 10-foot high fenced areas. Hunting in this country is going to be relegated to a private property experience where you have to pay to hunt, or you have to be well off, or you have to know somebody that has some private game refuge. There's not going to be any more opportunities like we've had for 100 years in this country to knock on some farmer's door and say, hey man, do you mind if I set up a deer stand over here, and you develop this relationship with these farmers. That's what I used to do when I quail hunted, and all the different type of hunting I did. We'd go up into these farmers' houses and ask permission for it. That's not going to be here anymore, guys, because eventually that land is going to be gobbled up to development. Now, here's the people say, oh, Randy, you're just a big hypocrite. People have places to live, blah, blah, blah. I've heard all the crap that goes along with it. Here's what you have to do on there. Number one, we've got to create a situation where these people that have these large tracts of prime wildlife habitat, they are encouraged to keep their land, and the system is set up to help them not have to sell it. Because what happens right now is, if you had a piece, say you've got a 200-acre piece of prime wildlife habitat just outside of the city. Okay, the family, maybe the parents pass away and the kids inherit the property. They don't want to jack with it, so they sell it to the closest greedy developer that comes over there. Now, here's what we can do, because obviously the private sector does not have enough discipline to take care of this problem. We're losing our wildlife habitat right and left. You can't rely on the private sector to do the right thing. We have got to have two different things to come in order to maintain this hunting areas in the future. Number one is you stop taxing, you stop putting property tax on pieces of property that are prime wildlife habitat. Take the property tax away from them. Next thing you do is you have some type of a government subsidy where you can pay these people that have these prime pieces of wildlife habitat not to sell. We subsidize the tobacco industry in this country. We subsidize the big oil companies. We do it all the time. Why not subsidize something that will benefit the future of our country, long-term sustainability for wildlife habitat? So say, for example, if you got this family that, they had a 400-acre tract of land, in the family since 1900. Parents have died off. They've got 2 or 3 kids that want to sell the property. If you create a situation where, number one, they are not taxed on that property, and number two, they are subsidized by the government to keep that property as a benefit to this country to maintain wildlife habitat, under the stipulation where maybe they have to allow people to hunt there, certain number of people are allowed to hunt there. That's how you maintain and not have this property gobbled up by those greedy real estate developers. But until we change this paradigm, guys, it's like a cancer eating away at this country. It's like, all you guys out there that hunt, if you're a hunter and you're as old as I am, you've seen it. You've seen exactly what I'm talking about, and it's getting worse and worse. It's accelerating, and it's been magnified at an alarming rate. Just from what I've seen in the last 10 years here, excuse me, and I know from what you guys send me, all the messages that you guys send me, you're seeing it the same thing all over the country. I had people sending me messages from Texas, from North Carolina, from Florida, from California, everywhere across the country, relating the exact same stories about these real estate developers that are just coming in and just freaking bulldozing down every piece of thing that they can to put up some type of business there. So that's what we have to do. The only change that's going to be affected on this, like anything else, is through legislation. Again, I don't have a lot of confidence in the private sector to do the right thing just for the sake of doing the right thing. But if we have legislation and pass, just like what I said, where prime wildlife habitat is not taxed and you're subsidized for keeping that property, then we can maintain a long-term sustainability, and you guys will have a place to hunt. Your kids will have a place to hunt. Your grandkids will have a place to hunt. But right now, guys, mark my words, and there's no doubt about it, is if we don't change or shift our way of thinking on this pro-growth policies of build, hunting is going to be a thing in the past. It's going to be relegated. It's going to become an elitist sport where people that are hunting, or the only people that can hunt, are the people that pay to go into these big high fence game areas to hunt. Days of hunting like it should be in this country are going to be over, and make no mistake about it, it's because of overdevelopment, guys. So anyway, let me know what y'all think, and talk later.